kind of horny.
Cutting down trees releases demons that are horny for destruction. I don't make the rules. FernGully, The Last Rainforest is an animated film from 1992. This is not a Disney movie. It was produced by an independent studio, so it was a passion project for a lot of people, including Robin Williams, who did the voice of Batty. B-A-T-T-Y as in bat, and not B-A-D-D-I-E as in Instagram. It's pretty well known that Robin Williams agreed to voice Batty before signing on as the genie in Disney's Aladdin, and Disney wanted him to quit FernGully because they wanted the genie to be the only animated role in his docket. Robin Williams refused, so Disney would make several attempts to sabotage FernGully. Fortunately, they failed because we got this beautiful, nightmarish masterpiece. FernGully falls in sort of the same category as The Brave Little Toaster. It's a classic. We all watched it as children. We incorporated it into the core memories in our brain, but it was also kind of terrifying and weird. These movies have another similarity. Brave Little Toaster was based on a novella, and FernGully was based on stories by an author named Diana Young. Fortunately for the FernGully movie, it was produced by Wayne Young, Diana's husband. Well, actually her ex-husband, but according to Wayne, it was totally cool and they were still really good friends. FernGully's core message is one of environmentalism. And this is obvious, it's not a secret, it's not supposed to be a subliminal message. This movie came at a time when environmentalism was a really big conversation point in both the media and pop culture. This Vanity Fair article references an Earth Day rally from 1990 in which Tom Cruise was the master of ceremonies.
Have you planted a tree? Do it!
He clearly loved trees. Although when I was looking for this clip, I would discover that his relationship with trees would later change for the worse. FernGully actually gave me nightmares as a kid, and the only reasons it's not giving me nightmares now as an adult are: one, I'll probably be dead by the time the environment fully collapses, fingers crossed, and two, the villain is voiced by Tim Curry, and there are things that I did not notice about this villain as a child that are more sexy than scary, and it makes me kind of uncomfortable. You'll see. So let's walk through the plot of FernGully and revisit how lush and gorgeous and deeply unsettling this movie is. The movie begins with sort of this cave painting prologue. It's very mysterious.
Our world was much larger then.
Reminds me a little bit of the Fellowship of the Ring prologue for some reason.
And Hexxus, the very spirit of destruction, rose up from the bowels of the earth.
Gives us the background for the villain, Hexxus.
And the humans fled in fear, never to return. Most think they didn't survive.
I love the implication that the humans are probably dead. I don't know. We didn't check.
It was only by calling up the magical powers of nature that I was able to trap Hexxus.
We learn that the story is being told by Magi, a wise old fairy, to Krista, a young fairy who just kind of like doesn't care.
That was so long ago and you trapped him in that tree and everything, so I really have to go now, but I'll see you later, okay?
She flies off into the jungle and we meet Pips, a male fairy.
You know, you're spending more time with Magi than you do with me.
Well, what can I learn from you?
Maybe it's just me reading into this, but I feel like the little hand grab was like him saying, "Oh, I'll show you what you can learn from me. I promise I have an arm over here." We get our first song along with a series of shots showing very cute jungle creatures.
When the sleepy planet comes alive.
At first I thought Pips was singing, like an answer to Krista's "What can I learn from you" thing, but no.
Life is a magic thing. Yeah, yeah.
Krista flies above the canopy, sees smoke, gets chased by a bird, and seeks refuge in Pip's manly arms. As you will come to learn, this movie is weirdly horny. Krista runs off or flies off to tell Magi what she saw.
I was thinking about that smoke. Do you think it could be Hexxus?
No, there isn't a force in nature that could release him.
She's worried that the smoke could be Hexxus, but Maggie's like, nah, there's nothing in nature that could release Hexxus. I feel like there's going to be a real, there's no man that can kill me, I am no man kind of technicality coming up. I know I keep comparing this to Lord of the Rings. Like, FernGully has some real similarities to Disney's Pocahontas and like Avatar, and I'm just sitting over here rambling about Lord of the Rings. Anyway, we meet Baddie Coda, Robin Williams' character. He is a bat who has been experimented on by humans, so he's got like an antenna sticking out of his head, and he keeps shorting out.
I'm a nocturnal placental flying mammal, a member of the family of Pterodiddae, or Pterodidnae. If you can't tell, I'm a bat!
He also gets a song.
Yo, the name is Batty. The logic is erratic. Potato in a jacket.
It's an incredibly catchy song.
Brain fried, electrified, spected and injectified, vivisectified, and fed pesticide.
It's also horrifying.
Red wires, green wires, stuck 'em right through me.
Baddie reveals to the fairies that humans are not extinct like they thought, and then he does the best impression of a human I've ever heard.
Humans don't have tails. They have big, big bottoms that they wear with bad shorts. They walk around going, "Hi, Helen!"
I wonder if Robin Williams ad-libbed that line, because it feels like a Robin Williams ad-lib. Krista is like, hell yeah, I want to go see some humans. We see a kangaroo. By the way, this jungle is in Australia, and up until very recently, I just assumed it was in South America. Krista very quickly discovers that humans suck. Humans are marking trees with red X's to indicate, I guess, which ones are going to get chopped down. And this includes our human lead, Zak. He sees a creepy-ass old tree and just, like, marks it with an X.
Gotcha.
Which turns out to be a bad idea. This may be a stretch, but I'm guessing that tree has something to do with Hexxus. Zak catches Krista.
Nipples?
Wait, wrong clip. But he's about to get smooshed by a big tree, so Krista casts a magic spell, except she messes up some of the words.
I give the gift of fairy size of sight!
Now Zak shrinks to a tiny man with bleached blonde hair. I mean, like, Look at his, I'm pretty sure he's got bleached hair. Like, look at his eyebrows. He's a natural brunette. Tiny Zak and Krista are stuck in a spider web and about to go through a wood chipper, but Baddie saves them. I feel like saying Tiny Zak and like doing this hand gesture is not appropriate. Krista steals Zak's wallet, and we learn that he has a photo of himself with 2 dogs at Christmas, and we see his work permit and learn that he is 16. He's also 5'11". Well, not anymore. Can you imagine being a human, I know that's such a stretch, and seeing a creature that is bigger than you and looks like a fruit bat? You'd think you were seeing the Jersey Devil, and he tries to fight it with a pocket knife. Krista manages to talk him down. Zak asks a very valid question.
Hey, am I dead?
Zak's just like doing his own thing. He runs from a singing lizard.
A very primal need.
I'm not sure if he's trying to eat Zak or flirt with him.
On my ravenous consumption. You're a welcome little snack.
Little snack indeed. I can only assume these are singing leeches in the water, which is unsettling. Zak is honestly a very realistic character.
Are you okay?
Zak tries to shake Krista's hand, but she's not familiar with the gesture. And I feel like Disney did a similar thing later in Pocahontas. Zak totally lies to Krista and tells her that he had nothing to do with that tree-eating monster, and that the red X's were actually trapping the machine.
How could I have anything to do with something that eats trees?
Could it come to FernGully?
Oh, no, of course not. You've got nothing to worry about.
Meanwhile, the other loggers chop down the Hexxus tree, and they end up releasing this gross, black, sentient ooze. The ooze keeps feeding on all of the pollution from the logging machines.
Mother's milk.
Ew. The more pollution he consumes, the more he sounds like Tim Curry.
And how did I get out of that tree?
He uses his Tim Curry voice to send the logging crew to FernGully.
You're going to FernGully, and I want you there by morning.
By morning?
You'll just have to work harder then.
Double shifts.
And I don't know how a being trapped inside a tree for like 1,000 years would, 1, know English, or 2, know what double shifts are, but okay. Now we get a Hexxus song, and it is horrifying.
Hit me twice. Go!
And also weirdly sexual.
That's rather nice.
The Hexxus song is called Toxic Love.
Ooh, you love my toxic love.
But the song in the movie is not actually as sexual as the original song that you can hear on the movie soundtrack.
I feel good, a special kind of horny.
Yep, they definitely had to cut that part out of the movie.
I suck 'em dry and spit 'em out like spinach.
The whole song is just a sultry ode to pollution. Hexxus is a dirty, filthy villain. Disney could never.
Ooh, you love my toxic love.
After that song, Zak's whole exploration of the natural world and all of its beauty is just so blah. He and Krista talk about whatever. He explains slang from 1992.
You know, bodacious, bad, tubular.
No one cares about your stupid forest song.
It's raining like magic, it's falling like starlight.
I want to hear Tim Curry seduce me with his sexy villain voice.
Hit me twice. Go!
That's rather nice.
I'm gonna go outside and litter right now. Hexxus, more like sexist. Sounds like I'm saying sexist. You know, things have gone in like a really different direction with this video than what I originally intended. Zak the Dum-Dum is carving Krista's name into a tree and she freaks out.
Can't you feel its pain?
It's pain?
This is when Krista realizes that Zak lacks empathy and human compassion. Zak calls Batty Batman and they have this exchange.
Nobody cares about me.
I do, Batman.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Only fools are positive.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I fell for it.
I remember this being the thing to quote in like elementary school for a brief period of time. Krista introduces Zak to her dad in the way that you always introduce boys to your dad.
Father, I'd like you to meet Zak.
Hi.
He's a bodacious babe.
What?
Pips is upset at his new romantic rival, but like in a way that kind of feels like sexual tension.
Why don't you come with me and the boys? We'll give you a taste of real FernGully wildlife. Unless, of course, you're not up to it, Zak.
He gets so close. He just gets all right up in there. I don't know. There are so many songs in this movie, and they introduce Zak's Walkman in order to play like a weirdly modern song and incorporate this dancing that I don't think fairies would do. And then shortly after that, there's another song, and this one is our, like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight kind of ballad. So during the love ballad, Krista and Zak go into this like sparkly cave and they kiss. And then the movie does this thing that I feel like was done so many times in the 90s where like two characters would kiss and then the camera kind of pans back and you discover that they're both floating. Although it does lose some of the impact here because one of those characters is a fairy and can fly. Again, this movie, definitely PG, but still weirdly horny. While Zak waits for Krista, he realizes that he can now feel the tree's pain. I guess like hooking up with a fairy gives you empathy, I don't know. And that the river is full of oil. The leveler is getting closer to FernGully. Krista goes to find Maggie and discovers chopped down trees with the red X's, which means Zak lied to her. Zak confesses the truth, but like really only because he's been backed into a corner.
They're cutting down trees. They're destroying the forest, and I was helping them do it.
The fairies gather to call upon their nature powers and fight Hexxus. Maggie gives Krista a magic seed and then dies.
I'll always be with you. We all have a power.
The logging truck has now made it to FernGully with Hexxus riding atop. Nope, not gonna make a joke about how Hexxus likes to be on top. Not gonna do it. Zak tries to stop the machine.
There's a little man on the windshield here.
Tony! Ralph, it's me, it's Zak!
After falling into a mug of coffee that's the same size that he is, literally my dream, Zak is able to turn the key in the ignition and stop the leveler. But that doesn't stop Hexxus. We get another horrific shot of a slime monster skeleton with fire igniting his rib cage up into his grinning skull. This is the inspiration for my outfit. Initially, I was thinking jungle fairy, but no. Krista picks up a seed, and I guess there was nothing special about that seed that Maggie gave her, like right before she died. So what was the point of that? Like, my initial interpretation was the circle of life, whatever. So Maggie sacrificed herself, like her life force, to put that life into the seed so that maybe they could drop the seed into Hexxus and it would grow another tree. Like, did she sacrifice her life for that? Anyway, Krista flies right into Hexxus's laughing skull mouth. The grotesque fire skeleton slime man is about to attack when vines begin to burst forth from his twisted form. The fairies all work together to help the seed grow into a new Hexxus tree. Finally, the villain and his weirdly sexy songs are defeated. I love the little like background character voice. Oh, Krista's gone.
Oh, Krista's gone.
But she's not gone. A flower blooms from the gross tree and Krista is curled up inside. She runs right to Zak. Not to Pips, who she's presumably known her entire life, not to her own father, but to this human man who she has known for a day, and in that time discovered that he willfully hurts sentient creatures and massively lied to her and almost caused the destruction of her entire home and people.
Now Hexxus can never harm FernGully again.
But humans still could. That's why I have to go back.
Ah yes, the message of this movie.
Goodbye, Zak.
Now Krista makes Zak big again, and he finds Batty underneath a piece of scrap metal.
Oh, I've shrunk!
So now Zak, the 16-year-old, has to go and tell the corporation that gave him a summer job that they need to abandon their entire industry.
Guys, things have got to change.
I'm sure they'll listen. I do think that FernGully is a good movie. It's very beautiful and it's very well done, especially for not having like Disney money. And it was probably very effective in its messaging, considering that like I watched it as a child and I grew up into an adult who cares about the environment and like I recycle. And I'm also very concerned about bats. Like apparently bats aren't doing well right now. And it worries me because bats eat mosquitoes. And I hate mosquitoes. And also look at these pictures of bats from the Pennsylvania Bat Rescue. Like look at how cute they are with just their little faces and their little smushy noses. I love them so much. FernGully is also unique because it wasn't from a major studio. It was its own little project that was allowed to be as weird as it wanted to be. And it wanted to be pretty weird. I also did not realize that the villain was going to be so sexy when I started this rewatch. Like that went right over my head as a terrified child. I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but here we are. And aren't you so glad you know about that now? We need a villain who's both threatening and sexy. Quick, get Tim Curry on the phone. By the way, I keep seeing these unverified announcements that FernGully is getting a live-action reboot, and no, it's not. The internet lies.
I really have to go now, but I'll see you later, okay?